The very word Tantra has become poisoned. Say it aloud in the marketplace, and immediately people will raise their eyebrows. Some will smile secretly, some will feel ashamed, some will become curious. Because the mind of humanity has reduced Tantra to one small corner: sex. This is nonsense, absolute nonsense. Real Tantra is not about sex. Sex is only a door, a very small door. Tantra is about the whole house, about the entire palace of existence. But you have become fascinated with the door. You stand outside, staring, gossiping, imagining what might be inside, but you never enter. Tantra has been exploited because the human mind is obsessed with sex. Whatever you connect with sex immediately sells. Even spirituality can be sold if you put sex on the label. That is why, in the West particularly, Tantra has become a marketing trick. Workshops, hotels, massage parlors, all in the name of Tantra. But this is not Tantra, this is business. Real Tantra is dangerous because it asks you to die. Not the death of the body, but the death of the ego, the death of your false self. And people are not ready for this death. They would rather play with techniques than dissolve into truth. Understand this clearly. Tantra is not indulgence, and Tantra is not repression. All religions up to now have chosen one side or the other. Either they say, repress the body, torture yourself, escape into the Himalayas. Or they say, indulge, celebrate desire, lose yourself in pleasure. Both are half. Tantra is the whole. Tantra says, neither indulge nor repress, transcend. Repression creates neurosis. Indulgence creates addiction. Both are prisons. Tantra is freedom. When I say, this is real Tantra, I mean the Tantra that liberates you from both extremes, that teaches you to be in the world but not of the world, that teaches you to use the body but not be enslaved by the body, that teaches you to love but not to cling. Remember, Tantra is the only path that has the courage to say yes to life in its totality. It does not condemn. It does not divide. It does not say, this is sacred, that is profane. Tantra says, all is sacred. When you understand this, the misconceptions die. And when the misconceptions die, Tantra is born in you. This meeting point, this union, is the essence of Tantra. But the mind cannot accept union. It always divides. It says, this is good, that is bad. This is pure, that is impure. This is holy, that is unholy. And the more you divide, the more miserable you become. Tantra says, drop the division. The whole cosmos is one. The dirty and the holy, the body and the soul, the world and the divine, they are not two. They are one energy, playing hide and seek. When you really understand this, when you see with the eyes of Tantra, even the smallest thing becomes luminous. The smoke rising from a village hut, the laughter of a child, the sound of the rain, all become doorways into the sacred. This is Tantra, the transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary, not by changing the thing, but by changing the vision. And the miracle is, once you see life in this way, there is no going back, because now everything is divine. Let me remind you again. Tantra is not indulgence. This misunderstanding must be dropped. Tantra is awareness. Awareness is the alchemy. When you eat, eat with awareness, and suddenly food becomes a prayer. When you walk, walk with awareness, and every step becomes a pilgrimage. When you breathe, breathe with awareness, and each breath becomes divine music. Without awareness, everything becomes mechanical. Love becomes lust. Religion becomes ritual. Life becomes boredom. With awareness, even the smallest act shines with eternity. So don't think Tantra is a license to be unconscious. It is the opposite. Tantra is the art of becoming so conscious that nothing of your life remains asleep. A man once asked a tantric master, "What is your practice?" The master laughed and said, "When I eat, I eat. When I walk, I walk. When I sleep, I sleep." The man was puzzled. "But everyone does that." The master replied, "No. When you eat, you think of 1,000 things. When you walk, you are lost in memories. When you sleep, your mind continues its chatter. I eat totally. I walk totally. I sleep totally. That is my Tantra. This is the difference. Not what you do, but how you do it. The quality of awareness changes everything." The religions of the world have told you to escape from the senses. They have made you afraid of your body, afraid of your energy. Tantra says, do not escape. Transform. And the transformation happens through awareness. Yes, sex can also become a door in Tantra, but remember, it is only one door among many, and the door is not the house. The problem is, people stopped at the door and thought they had entered the palace. Real Tantra is about entering the house, moving through every room, opening every window, until you stand on the roof and see the whole sky. That sky is awareness, infinite, open, unbounded. This is why I say, Tantra is awareness, not indulgence. It is time to speak directly about sex, because unless we are utterly honest, Tantra will remain misunderstood. Why did Tantra use sex? Why did it become almost synonymous with sex? The answer is very simple. Sex is the most powerful energy you carry. It is the root energy, the life force itself. Every man, every woman is born through it. Without sex, there would be no humanity, no flowers, no poetry, no temples. Sex is the very seed of life. And for centuries, religions have condemned it. They became afraid of it, because sex is wild, uncontrollable, dangerous to the ego. If you allow sex totally, you disappear in it. For a moment, the ego melts, and you taste a drop of egolessness. That taste frightens the priests, the politicians, the moralists. So they condemned sex, they repressed it, they called it sin. Tantra did something revolutionary. Tantra said, do not call sex sin. Do not escape from it. Do not repress it. Use it. Transform it. This is Tantra's courage. Sex is a door. Through sex, you can enter into meditation. Because sex is the only natural experience in which you fall for a moment into timelessness. Have you noticed? In deep orgasm, for a few seconds, the mind stops. No past, no future, only an explosion of presence. That's why people are so obsessed with sex, because it gives them a glimpse of meditation, even if only for a moment, even if unconscious. Tantra says, make it conscious. Use sex as a meditation. Go deep into it, not for lust, not for pleasure, but for awareness. Watch the energy rising. Feel it in your whole body. Become a witness as the wave moves, as the ego disappears. Then sex becomes prayer. Sex becomes sacred. But remember, sex is only one door. There are thousands. Breath can be a door. Dance can be a door. Silence can be a door. Eating can be a door. Tantra used sex because it is the strongest door, the most immediate, the most magnetic. And that is why the world became obsessed with sex when it thought of Tantra, because the world itself is obsessed with sex. The repressed mind can only see Tantra's courage to include sex. It cannot see Tantra's vastness beyond sex. So Tantra got reduced. People forgot the house and clung to the door. Imagine a man who stands at the gate of a temple, bowing again and again, but never enters. That is what has happened. People talk about sexual Tantra, but they never enter the temple of meditation. Sex is not the goal. It is only the beginning. If you stop there, you miss the whole point. The real Tantra begins when sex disappears and pure energy remains. When orgasm is no longer localized in the body, but becomes cosmic. When love is no longer a relationship, but a state of being. Yes, sex is a door, but it is not the house. Enter through it, but don't stay there. Move inward, move higher, until you reach the innermost sanctuary. Silence, awareness, liberation. Then you will laugh, because you will see sex was only a seed, and the seed has flowered into meditation. This is why Tantra used sex, and this is why Tantra has been misunderstood. Do not think Tantra is something you practice for 1 hour a day sitting in meditation. Tantra is a way of life. You are not to leave the world, you are to find the divine in the world. You are not to escape the marketplace, you are to discover silence in the marketplace itself. This is why Tantra is so radical. Other religions divide life. This is sacred, that is profane. But Tantra says everything is sacred. If you cannot see God in the face of your neighbor, you will not find him in a temple. So live Tantra. When you wake up in the morning, don't just jump out of bed like a machine. Wake up slowly, with awareness. Feel your body, feel your breath, feel the silence of the early morning. That is Tantra. When you drink water, don't just gulp it unconsciously. Taste it, feel it flowing into your body. That is Tantra. When you listen to music, don't just hear with your ears. Let your whole being vibrate with it. That is Tantra. When you are angry, don't repress it. Don't indulge it. Watch it. Feel the energy rising. Remain aware. And you will be surprised. Anger transforms into compassion, just as darkness transforms into light when you bring in a lamp. Tantra is not against anything. It is only against unconsciousness. And slowly, slowly, as you live this way, you will notice life itself has become meditation. You don't have to divide your day into spiritual and ordinary. All is spiritual. All is extraordinary. This is living Tantra. To walk on the earth as if the earth is holy. To touch another being as if God Himself is present. To breathe as if each breath is borrowed from eternity. Where does this path lead? What is the fruit of Tantra? The fruit is freedom, liberation, but not the old idea of liberation, escaping from life, escaping from the body, escaping into some heaven. No, Tantra's liberation is here, in this very body, in this very world. When you live Tantra, you are free in the marketplace, free in the family, free in the body. Because freedom does not mean leaving. Freedom means being without bondage. You don't run away from life. You live life so totally, so deeply, that nothing is left behind. And in that total living, a great silence arises. That silence is liberation. It is not something that comes after death. It is something that flowers while you are alive. It is not something promised in another world. It is something available in this very moment. And when you touch it, you will laugh, because you will realize it was always here. You were simply too busy chasing shadows.